Hello, I'm John Idelson. I'm a professor emeritus at California State University at Monterey Bay, and currently I'm the acting executive director of the California Community College Online Education Initiative. But today, and I'm here in my role as a member of the nomination committee, and we want to give people here an opportunity to meet our candidates. So let's get right into it. Michele, could you tell us about your first CUE experience?
Yes. Hi, I'm Michele Dawson, and I'm currently the educational supervisor for San Francisco Unified School District. And my experience with CUE goes way back to 2000, 14 years ago. I went to the Fall CUE Conference, the National Fall CUE Conference in Sacramento, and the name of the conference was Bridging the National Divide. I fast forward to 2014, 14 years later, and I'm still thinking we could call the conference the same thing. But it was a wonderful experience. My first time that I'd ever been to an educational technology conference, and I walked away with what I call back pocket strategies. I left and I could use what I learned that day at CUE when I got back to my classroom in San Mateo, California, the next day.
It's always have fond memories of a first CUE conference. I remember mine. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what led you to want to serve on the CUE board of directors?
Sure. I've had 20 years of experience in education as a teacher, as an administrator, as a technology coordinator, and as a grant writer, and also on the other side as a technology director. I have a master's degree in educational leadership with a focus on leading for equity, achievement, and democracy. And right now, what I do is I lead San Francisco. I've been here for about a year and 2 months, but already we've seen dramatic changes in what we do in San Francisco with educational technology, and I can contribute a lot of my learning to the experiences I've had year after year for the past 14 years with CUE. I was the program manager for Napa County Office of Ed, where I really got involved with North Bay CUE. We revitalized North Bay CUE. It used to be Wine Country CUE. And unfortunately, I love the name, but I actually had to change it because nobody would get our emails because they had wine in it, and it would filter it out. So I've also been the director of technology for Millbrae School District. So I really understand the needs of schools from the technical side and from the educational side. I've also written grants such as a EETT grant, competitive grant, and I garnered an award called the California School Board Association Golden Bell Award for project-based learning with multimedia. So what led me to this path? I was working in San Bruno at an alternative high school, and in that high school, kids would do packets, and they'd show up maybe one a day. Well, maybe they wouldn't. So there was this great thing, I think it was called PC Day, and all of our schools got equipped. And I took the lead, the charge, and right away I noticed that all of a sudden these at-risk kids were coming. When I had computers in my classroom, and it came, no longer was it one kid showing up, it came to 20 kids showing up every day for the class because of their engagement and the relevancy of the tools that we were using. Parents came crying, thanking me that their kids graduated from high school because of these programs we put in place. So I am actually the sitting president of North Bay CUE, as I said, formerly Wine Country CUE. And when I got into the North Bay, Wine Country CUE was virtually dead. I and a couple of my colleagues revitalized the whole affiliate. We've been doing events for 4 years. We did our I recognized, and as a president of this organization, I recognized that school districts in North Bay did not have the capacity or the expertise to integrate technology into their districts. So what I did is I identified their pain points. The districts in my region had specific pain points. When I started in 2010, they got all these iPads, these shiny devices. Nobody knew anything about them. Nobody had the capacity in their district. So I had my first North Bay Q event, and I slammed it with iPads, and it sold out right away. But identifying those pain points where the school districts could not meet their needs was one of my strategies of success. Also, sorry, before I move from that, also I want you to know that we are having our 4th annual Connect You event in May. And again, we're looking at what are the pain points. So our theme this year is Techie Tools for the Common Core. And that is where districts are having issues, how to meet the digital demands of the Common Core. So as we plan and develop our Q events, we look at what is at the foremost for teachers and administrators, and how can we best meet that need. But we also want to make events fun. Being centered in the wine country for North Bay Q gave me this great idea. We're in the middle of wineries, the best wineries in the world. So we came up with technology in the vines. So we partnered with Vineyard 29. We had a great event. We had teachers sharing strategies and tools that they use. And then we invited one of our high leverage apps, Nearpod, to come in and do a presentation. All of that with a wine tasting and with a nice lunch.
Well, that you've got me tempted here, and you actually just really started going into our last question, which I need to bring up right now, which was, what are some of the greatest challenges? And you talked about some of them, and how can Q and Q leadership lead? So, with a brief answer to that, we'll conclude our interview.
Oh, great. Well, we have a really complex global economy right now that we're not really preparing our students for the demands of the workforce. So what I think, schools need to change the structure to make the curriculum meet the needs of the workforce and to prepare our students to be career and college ready with the tools that are relevant to the workplace and the workforce of the future. So I think that Q plays an instrumental part in doing this by making technology ubiquitous. I think Q needs to move away from what I call the ugly stepsister in curriculum, which is technology. My department, Ed Tech, should go away. It should be ubiquitous and be in all of our core curriculum. So I'm hoping to help Q meet that need. I also think that we need to provide a forum to showcase student work. We also need to identify the pain points in districts and be the organization that meets those. I also think that Q can play a larger role in advocating in legislation, be it local, national, or state legislation, really advocating to build our infrastructure and to build our curriculum to reflect what the needs are in the 21st century, especially with the workforce. With that in mind, I really think we should expand our partnerships with the business community. Here in San Francisco, I'm also a member of SFQ, board member. Just started last night. We had our first event at KQED, bringing in business partners in the city and really leveraging those partnerships to provide great opportunities for teachers to see the workplace that students are going into. We also are working with Twitter to bring together Twitter at Twitter, and these partnerships are really thriving. So I think I can help Q deliver the partnerships, especially in the technology space and being in the epicenter of where it's all happening.
Well, those are, go ahead.
The last thing is how do we start connecting teachers not only in the state, but across the country and globally. So those are some of the strengths that I think I can help grow Q in the future.
Well, they're great challenges, but they're also great opportunities. But I want to thank you from both the nominating committee and from the Q membership for stepping up to run for a position of the Q board of directors for board leadership. It's a leadership that helps guide Q, and we're really excited that you've decided to run. And for those of you watching this video, be sure to vote. Thank you.